Welcome to the TRAD Exit Reasons Report screencast. This report displays TKIDS data for children whose case was moved from enrollment disposition to closed or to follow-along disposition anytime during the date selected, or when a case who has an enrolled disposition has an exit date or transferred out date within the date selected. To access the report, select Exit Reasons in the drop-down menu. To select the time frame for the report, first select a start date in the field labeled From and an end date in the field labeled To. Select a format for the report. All formats present the same information. Click the Generate Report button. When you open the report, you will see a table or spreadsheet. Near the top of the report, on row 3, if you chose the Excel format, you see the date and time the report was created, followed by the number of rows returned. The spreadsheet has 17 columns. The first column is the case ID. The second column is the child ID. The next two columns are optional columns. There will only be information in the report if information was entered into TKIDS. The third column is the optional local ID. The fourth column is the optional office ID. The next column is the first name for the child. The next column is the child's middle initial. Again, this column will be left blank if no information is entered into TKIDS. The next column is the child's last name, followed by the child's date of birth. The next column is the enrollment date for the child. The next column is the reason for closure. There are many different reasons for closure, such as moved within state, not eligible for Part B, exited with no referrals, Part B eligibility was not determined, waiting for Part B, Part B eligible, enrolled in Part B, met developmental proficiency, Part B eligible but parents declined, withdrawal by the family, not eligible for Part B, exited to other programs, Part B eligibility not determined, declined Part B eligibility, could not be contacted, no longer meets eligibility criteria, moved out of state, deceased, or duplicate. The next column is the closure date. The next column is the transfer out date if this applies to the child. The next column is the exit date. The next two columns concern follow-along services. Your program may or may not use follow-along services. If you use follow-along services and this applies to the child, this column, Reason for Follow-Along, will have the information about why the child was referred to follow-along. This could be transferred from another follow-along program, screened and enrolled in follow-along, and eligible for comprehensive enrolled in follow-along, eligible but declined comprehensive services, withdrawal from comprehensive services, or met developmental proficiency, followed by the follow-along date or the date that the child was referred to follow-along. Finally, the last two columns are the service coordinator's first name and the service coordinator's last name.